In this episode, we're going to show you how we choose our artwork for each job, and then we are going to take you along to a job and show you how to hang the artwork. Welcome to Foxy TV, episode 102. Thanks for joining us for another Foxy TV episode. Now, before we get into all things art, a couple of weeks ago, we had a styling challenge between Phoebe and Janessa. We got you to vote across our social media channels and the votes are in. Let's now go and announce the winner. All right, time to draw the winner. Announce the winner of the styling challenge between Janessa and Phoebe. The loser's paying for breakfast for everyone here. Cam, drum roll. Okay, the winner is Phoebe. So Janessa, it's about $300 for breakfast.
That's right. I'll put it on the work card.
So a big congratulations to Phoebe, who took out the styling challenge round 2. That is now 1 apiece for Phoebe and Janessa. And a big thank you to everyone who voted. Now on to today's main topic, artwork, how to select it and how to hang it. Let's start with some info on how we select artwork for our jobs.
All right, so the selection of artwork. Artwork is really critical for styling as well as presenting home ready for sale. So it's something, we look at it as like the icing on the cake. So if a client comes to me and they're not happy to have holes in their walls and they don't want to do artwork, we suggest that they consider very strongly not doing the styling, because the styling is not worth it without the artwork. So how do we pull it all together, and what's the point of the artwork at the end of the day? So our colour selections, everything like that, start way back at the consult. So we obviously go through at a consult, take lots and lots of photos. Sometimes, and very conveniently, in the case I'm about to show you, we have a floor plan available to us through our P-Data. And so using the images plus the floor plan, we then come up with a plan for our artwork as well as the layout of the furniture. So there's a couple of things we do consider. Obviously there's the position of the artwork, the size of the artwork, and then when we go back, if we rewind back to the position of the artwork. So position of the artwork, it's critical that it forms part of the first impression. So we don't go crazy with artwork. You can't put artwork up on every wall. Blank walls are just as important as artwork. If you have artwork on every single wall, it's too much. The eye doesn't know where to look. You can't settle, there's no focal point. So blank walls are critical. So when we're positioning the artwork, we need to make sure that the artwork that we do use has the biggest amount of effect on our first impression. We gauge that by the front door. So can we see the artwork when we have at our entry into the room? So that's where we're going to position the artwork. We will never position artwork on the same wall above a TV. A TV takes place of artwork because, again, it's too cluttered. So how do I choose the colour and the size? The size for me is dependent on the wall space that we have available to us. So we've got a huge big space, great size ceilings, so I'm going to go for a great big piece of oversized artwork. If I have a smaller space or a buffet underneath it or a sofa underneath the artwork, I'm going to go for a smaller artwork, probably a metre by a metre, even an 80 centimetre piece of artwork, but a pair. So I probably wouldn't do an 80 centimetre piece of artwork behind a sofa on its own. It's going to look too empty, so that's when we pair it up. So the next step would be colour. So we've got position, size and colour. So colours are determined by 2 factors: what we have available to us in the warehouse and also what colour the property is. So you'll see the property that we're installing in, it has green walls. So that's chosen our colour palette for us. We're going to go for a selection of a softer green palette with some natural artwork in there as well. Maybe some white, potentially some black, depending on the finishes that I'm incorporating with the furniture. And that way the artwork ties together the furniture and it blends beautifully and it presents lovely. In the bedroom, we've got blue walls. So we're going with blue finishes in that room, and then tying it all together with blue linen, white linen with some blue accessories, blue cushions and everything like that. So when we've got a neutral colour palette, that's what we'll call that. So you've got cream and beige walls, and then on the other colour palette, you've got grey. So they're on the opposite ends of our colour schemes that we all incorporate. So we'll never mix the two. So when you've got either of these colour palettes, that enables you to be adventurous with the colours that you are bringing in. So a nice neutral colour palette, then you can, with your cream walls, you can be in blue, green, plum, burgundy, coral. With your greys, you can go monochrome, so black and white. You can go with rusts, you can go with light blue. So you can incorporate any color you like into those 2 color palettes, as long as it's not cream with gray or gray with cream. Their cream is yellow based, gray is blue based, and when they photograph and when they're blended together, they clash. They don't complement each other as nicely as if you go with a different color. For the way that we style, and the way that I love to see, is a consistency throughout the living spaces. So when I say living spaces, I'm talking about the living, the dining room, the study, the family space, the sitting space, the meals area, the kitchen, even to the outdoor area. I would do a consistency throughout of the color palette. So when I'm saying color palette, I'm talking about the cushions, the artwork, the finishes. Then when you get into the bedrooms, you can change it up. So the bedrooms can have different personality. That's where we would inject a little bit more color. The bedrooms don't have to stay the same.
So that's how we select artwork here at Foxy Home Staging. I hope you found it helpful. You would have also seen some of the clips from the property Phoebe was talking about with the green walls, so I hope that sort of helped bring it all together. Let's now move to the more practical part of the episode, and that is how to hang the art. Whether you're looking to hang just one piece of art in your home, or if you're a home stager like us and you're hanging multiple pieces per day, I really hope you find this useful. And for those who prefer to learn by reading, Eva has actually written an article on how to hang artwork, and it includes the process and all the equipment you will need as well. So head over to the website. I'll also include a link to that article on Facebook and YouTube in the comments or in the description section below. All right, let's now head to an install in Augustine Heights to hang some artwork.
So we are at our second install today, and we thought we'd run through how to hang artwork. It's something we get asked often. After we've installed, we're packed up, new owners have moved in. We've had a couple that have then emailed us to then say, how do we put up some more art? So otherwise, the other flip side is other stylists who are then paying to bring in an art hanger and then passing that cost on to a client. So I want to show you how easy it is actually to hang that artwork. So let's get started. So we have our toolbox with our tools. Cody will run through that later. The mount that we use depends on the size and the weight of the artwork. So if you come along here, we've got a number of different types. So you've got oversized canvas that is strong. So this only needs 1 center point, but it's heavy. So I wouldn't be using a little hook that's got the little nails on it. Those ones really should only be used up for 2.5 kilo artwork. Anything above that needs a gyprock plug with a screw. So we'd use one of those for this one. The same would go with these framed pieces of artwork. Again, it only needs 1 anchor because we've got the string. Sometimes, not today, but sometimes they're not strung. So pieces that are sort of 5 kilos and heavier, particularly framed pieces, tend not to be strung because when you hang it from one point, the pressure point on the frame can pull apart the corners of the artwork. Those ones need to be hung by D-ring mounts only. So they're the ones where you need to have it level, you have 2 points. Obviously we're going to hang it with 2 screws because otherwise you're going to be able to see the hook to start with. So what we use is determined by the artwork itself. And then we've just got all of our tools in our toolbox. So I'm going to show you a couple of where we're hanging with hooks, a couple where we're hanging with gyprock plugs. This particular house, it's a new build, so it's all gyprock. We don't find beams. If we happen to find a beam, that's fantastic, and we'll do a hook or a screw straight into the beam. We default for centered and where it's going to look best for our room positioning. So if it needs a gyprock plug, that's fantastic. If we've got a beam, that's even better. So for us, there's no preference to get a beam. So there's nothing like a stud detector or anything fancy like that we use. And then for leveling and everything, we do it every day. So for us, leveling by eye is a far more efficient and effective way to hang our artwork. Most of our artwork is strung so that if we are slightly out, potentially the artwork itself, the strings are a different length, the wires are a different length, we can tighten it so that they are matched perfectly. The other thing is that this particular house, because it's a new build, we don't have timber walls, we don't have concrete walls, we don't have brick. So for those different surfaces, we've also got different tools that we would use to mount our artwork. So for concrete walls and for brick, we use a masonry nail. They are designed to be self-propellant into those surfaces. So literally it's a nail and you just hammer it in. Thick concrete though, you can use a hammer drill to help you guide that initial entrance into the wall. Otherwise, what the concrete that you're displacing will kind of crackle around the entry point. So it doesn't look as smooth without a hammer drill. It can still go in, it's just not as smooth without the hammer drill. So the masonry nails are for those surfaces. For timber, we can still use a hook or the screw. They just then can hold a heavier weighted piece of artwork than if it's into gyprock itself. So it's just a sturdier finish. The colour palette of this one's quite neutral. We've gone for more of a contemporary, sophisticated colour palette. It suits the colour palette of the home, but the reason I've gone with this feel is because we're incorporating a lot of the client's furniture, but it's also a style that we haven't done of late for this particular agent. So it's making sure that every job that we present for an agent is unique in itself. So that's really important to make sure on our end that we're having that versatility of our product presented. Walk through the entry, and this is the first wall that we can see. You've got a mirror above the console table at the entry. Beautiful, client's own, and it looks fantastic. But as you walk through, this is the very first wall you see. So for us, this is our feature point. This is a media room. We've got two beautiful artworks side by side that are going in. They're oversized, going to work beautifully against this sofa because the sofa's low line. So something that I didn't mention before is that we often work in pairs, more efficient for us to do it that way. So I can move the artwork, I can hang the artwork where Cassie eyes it in. So what she's doing at the moment is making sure it's centered according to the lights in the room. So for us, we go for, I would say, fixed fixtures in a property to make sure that everything is centered. It doesn't always work out as nicely as that, but this one's going well. So when you're putting the screw in, you want to hear the pop, and the pop means that it's gone through the gyprock nicely. Screw goes in, we just go for a flathead 32mm screw. So this is the hook one, so we just did gyprock screw and gyprock plug. This one is just a single hook. So this, whilst it's an oversized piece of artwork, it's a floating framed canvas and it's really light. So we're just going for one single hook. What we do, Cody, is we've been doing it for so long that as far as height goes, we know the position for us where we need to hold to put the fixture into the wall, so it's going to be at a really good height once it's up. So for me, that's basically at my forehead height. This one I've gone slightly higher because we've got a really high centerpiece, so I still want it to be visible. But a standard piece above a bed or something like that, I'm going to be basically doing it at my eye line level. If you're taller than me, you have to go for it a bit shorter, and you gauge it over time when you figure it out. If you don't know where to put it, that's when I'd be using a tape measure. The rule that we follow is it needs to be at least 15 to 20 centimeters above the furniture, if there's furniture in front of it. So you'll see like the sofa in there, the position of the artwork, it flows straight down. So when we've got the cushions and the throw rug, everything like that, it's all going to flow as one piece. It's not segregated. If you're having that segregation, that's when it feels disjointed and it doesn't complement it. Instead, it's a separate thing and your eye doesn't know where to settle.
So there you have it, how we and hopefully how you can select artwork for your home or for somebody else's home, and then how to hang it. I tried to cover as much as possible in this episode, but I understand there are unique circumstances when it comes to selecting, or in particular hanging art, different surfaces, different room layouts. So if this episode didn't cover your circumstance, please let us know in the comments below or send us a message and we'll do our best to get back to you. Thanks so much for watching episode 102 of Foxy TV, and we will see you back here next week.